So good day everyone. So today we will discuss the comparable company analysis of PNG company as well as the precedent analysis of PNG company. So the first one is yung comparable company analysis. So the first step in conducting the comparable company analysis is the first one is to find the right comparable company. So in finding the right comparable company, we have the following criteria in choosing the right company. So the first criteria is yung industry where it belongs. So currently si PNG company is nabelong siya sa consumer goods company. So what do you mean by consumer goods? So consumer goods ito yung mga goods na binibili ng mga individuals for their personal use such as yung mga toothpaste, shampoo, and etc. Now the second criteria naman is yung geography and size nito. So currently si PNG company is nag-ooperate siya worldwide and currently it covers around 180 countries all over the world. So dapat ang pipili natin na company is dapat nag-ooperate din siya worldwide at saka kasing laki ng lawak ng nasusukupan ni PNG company. So upon considering those mga criteria, so we have come up uh, the two comparable companies na i-compare natin kay P&G. So the first one is Unilever and the second one is si Johnson and Johnson. So kung nagtataka kayo, if you know Nestle, so si Nestle is isa rin siyang consumer goods company. Pero hindi namin siya napili kasi nga si Procter and Gamble is isa siyang consumer goods company but it focuses more on consumer health products such as yung mga beauty products, skin products and etc. So si Nestle naman is famous siya for his mga food products. So that's why mas pinili namin si Unilever at saka si Johnson Johnson. So ito naman si Unilever at saka si Johnson Johnson, uh, meron silang mga food products pero mas malaki yung mga pinoproduce nila ng mga products ng mga kanilang mga beauty, skincare at saka pharmaceuticals na mga products. So that's why sila yung mas fit na i-compare natin kay P&G company. Now, mapunta naman tayo sa kanilang market data. So, itong mga market data nila is kinuha namin sa kanilang mga latest na financial statements. So, itong lahat na ito is sa kanilang 2021 na mga financial statements. So, let's go to their share price. So, si Procter and Gamble meron siyang 134.93 na share price dollars. At saka si Unilever naman meron siyang 53.79 na share price. And ang pinakamalaki sa kanila is si Johnson and Johnson na merong 149.67 na share price. So, dito lang sa share price, we cannot conclude na if ano yung company na magandang pwendesan kasi nga most of the experts sinasabi nila na malaki daw yung share price. Ibig sabihin nito, si company daw is nakaranas ng mga victories or kanang mga great achievements sa kanilang company. That's why mahal yung kanilang mga share price but hindi pa rin ito sapat para mag-decide tayo kung ano yung mas magandang pang-invest na company. So the next one naman is yung market capitalization. So same pa rin sa pag-compute nito, yung outstanding shares times yung mga current share price nila dun sa financial statements nila. So si Procter and Gamble has a 327 billion 880 million dollars na market capitalization while si Unilever naman meron siyang 139 848 million 620,000 na market capitalization and ang pinakamalaki pa rin is si Johnson and Johnson na merong 400 billion 217 million 580,000 dollars na market capitalization. And lastly is yung kanilang mga enterprise value which is kinumpute natin using the formula na market capitalization plus total debt less cash and cash equivalent plus minority interest or yung mga non-controlling interest. So si PNG company has a 245 million dollars na enterprise value while si Unilever naman ang may pinakamaliit na enterprise value which is 194 billion 421 million dollars 620,000. And ang pinakamalaki pa rin sa kanila ay si Johnson and Johnson na merong 476 billion 604 million 580 thousand na enterprise value. So yun yung market data nilang tatlo.
As a continuation, we have here the financial data. which is these are the following data of the companies which will be used to compute different valuation ratios. And this will become the denominator of getting the valuation ratios. Here we have sales, EBITDA, EBIT, and earnings. So in millions. So yung difference nila is hindi mag-matter kasi yung what matters here is yung valuation ratio mismo and yung interpretation ng average and median. So we will not discuss thoroughly this financial data because it is given already. So next slide is the valuation ratios. So here we have EV over sales, EV over EBITDA, and EV over EBIT. And lastly is the price earnings ratio. So we get the numerator from the market data and the denominator from the financial data. So resulting to these different valuation ratios. So in the first column, it is the P&G, and the second column is the Unilever, and the third column is the Johnson and Johnson. So in the fourth column, which is the orange table, we have the average, and the fifth column is the median. So here in the valuation ratios, we can conclude what are the companies that is overvalued or undervalued. So these are the average and median of companies multiples. So let us assess the companies by using the average and median of the ratios. So the first valuation ratio is the EV over sales, in which the average median is 4.6 and the 5.1 is the median. So as we can see in the first column, which is the PNG, it has 5.1, and the average is 4.6 and the median is 5.1. So it is uh, in the level of industry average. While in the second, the Unilever, so Unilever is undervalued. So we can say that it's undervalued because it has 3.7, which is far uh, below from the industry average. So we can say that undervalued Unilever is undervalued since it's far from the industry average and it has more than average revenue as for the amount of its enterprise value. So that's why undervalued si Unilever. And next is 5.1, which is the same lang kay Procter and Gamble. So ayun lang, within the industry average lang sila ni uh, Procter and Gamble. Now we go to EV over EBITDA. So here we have the average of 17.7 and the median of 18.6. First is Johnson, I mean Procter and Gamble, which is 18.8. Then Unilever is which is 18.6. So those two is within or not so far from the industry or in the average industry level of ratio or the median of the industry. But in case of the third column, which is the Johnson and Johnson, which is 15.7, it is undervalued. So because it has 15.7, which is far from the average. So Johnson is undervalued in which it has EBITDA or earnings before income, interest, taxes, and depreciation and amortization, which is parang hindi siya level dun sa kanyang enterprise value mismo, yung volume ng kanyang enterprise value. That's why yung kinikita niya is hindi ka-level ng enterprise value. That's why we assess that it is undervalued. So that's why yung Johnson is undervalued other than the two companies. Next naman is yung EV over EBIT, which is first kay P&G 21.7, kay Unilever is 22.3, and 20.7 kay Johnson and Johnson. So we have a median of 21.7, the average of 21.6. So here we can sum up that um, yung industry average and tsaka yung ratios nila is hindi masyadong malayo. So we can conclude that their ratio is only within the industry level. So next is in the PE or price earnings ratio. So here we have 22.9 for P&G, 21.1 for Unilever, and 19.2 for J&J. So here the industry average is 21.1 and the median is 21.1 also. 22.9 for PNG, which is we can say it is above from the average or level of industry ratio in which we can say that it is overvalued kasi yung price niya is um, mataas yung price niya for the earnings na kinikita ng company mismo. So, ayun, that's why we suggest that we conclude that it is overvalued. Next naman is dito kay sa third column which is kay J&J which is 19.2. We can say that it is undervalued because it is far below from the industry average. So, we can say that yung price niya is hindi siya karapat-dapat for that earnings na kinikita niya. Kasi yung industry average is masyadong malayo siya sa industry average. So that's why it is undervalued. So overall, we conclude that Johnson is most favorable um, than the other two na nandito sa comparable analysis because as we can see in the ratio, comparing to its average is halos undervalued yung kanilang mga ratios which is good implication for investors. Here we have the precedent analysis. So first, we will have to know what is precedent transaction analysis. So precedent transaction analysis is a valuation method in which the price paid for similar companies is in the past is considered an indicator for uh, is an indicator of company's value. So this create analysis of an estimate of what a share of stock would be worth in the case of an acquisition. So this analysis uses past performance results of a company to help determine that the company's valuation. So here we have date, target, transaction value, buyers, EV over sales, and other ratios. So here we have the target and the buyers. First transaction is the DCM Beauty Group Incorporated, which has a transaction value of 1 billion and the buyer is the Estee Lauder Company. So next is the Derm Store LLC, which has a 350,000 transaction value, 350 million transaction value, and the buyer is THG Holdings. Next is Paul Mason Brandy. We have Paul Mason Brandy, which is the transaction value of 265 million, and the buyer is the Sazerac Company. Next is the Bountiful, and the transaction value of 5,750,000,000, and the buyer is the Nestle. Next is Kraft Heinz Company, which has the transaction value of 3,350,000, and the buyer is the Hormel Foods Corporation. So these are the valuation ratios based on the amount or the financial data and market data that is present with these companies. We have the EV over sales, EV over EBITDA, and EV over EBIT valuation ratios. So the important here is the average and the median. So here in the EV sales, we have an average of 3.8 times, and in the EV over EBITDA, we have 16.9. Then in EV over EBIT, we have 20.9. And the median is 3.3 for EV over sales and EV over EBITDA 16.5 and 18.6 for EV over EBIT. So here, um, as we can see, as in the average and median of this precedent transaction analysis, it reflects of what is the estimate of share would be worth in case of if there is a acquisition of these companies. So it also examines that the companies making the acquisitions are likely to make another acquisition soon. So it can be a basis for the investors to for the share to be estimated kung ano magkano yung share price or stocks nila in the future investments. The next is from this data of consumer products company. So it reveals that M&A or merger and acquisition is one of the critical levers to drive strategic advantage in the market. So that's all about the company comparable analysis and precedent transaction analysis. Thank you.